Divine ones, hi guys. How are you on this beautiful Wednesday? I am doing wonderful. I hope that you guys are, and if not, you are working toward getting to a much better place. As I am very well versed in knowing what it feels like to be in a dark place and for a very long time. I'm presently coming out of a very familiar yet dark place that I've known for all of my life. So it is not easy. I don't know really what life looks like when it comes to easy. That's not a word that I could, pull out of my vocabulary to describe my life experience, even up to this date and time. But, again, I hope that you all know that with, all the challenges that you're going to be faced with, if you so choose to continue to fight, you will come out on the other side a different person, and that different person will be equipped with abilities that you probably never thought that you would acquire. So, life can surprise us when we hang in there with the challenges that we're faced with. When we face the challenges head on, right? So that's what I'm doing every day when I wake up. And waking up in itself can be a challenge at this point, as I'm being transparent. But today, overall, I'm feeling really, really good. I'm feeling really, really good. This is the best I've felt in probably about 3 weeks. So I'm really, really happy about that. I'm smiling today. My energy is much better than it had been, because I'm feeling better. And, when we feel good, it shows in our vibration. It shows on our facial expression. It shows, in our actions. It just shows. So today's a good day. So I'm thanking God for this day. But for those of you who are new to this channel that I've created for the community, where we focus on healing, welcome. I'm January, and I created this channel in real time because I'm someone who is actually going through a very, very difficult healing process in all aspects, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And those areas of my life have been under heavy attack. And I am coming from under and out of those attacks as we speak. So you are looking at a wounded warrior. Someone who, is healing through PTSD, and I am shedding the old version of myself, and I am becoming someone else new. I'm leaving the past behind in all ways that I need to. So sometimes when I come on here, I may look a mess. I may physically look a mess. And when y'all see me and I look a mess, it is because I feel a mess. So if I look it, it's because I feel it. And, I may look a little bit of a mess today. But I feel better today. I don't actually feel a mess today. So I'm trying to make sure that, because most of the time I do feel like a mess, because I don't feel my best, that I don't look it. So y'all have to excuse my appearance if I look a mess. But anyway, I digress. I wanted to talk about how my unpleasant, dark, and tough life experiences have prepared me for battle. I am a spiritual warfare warrior. And so when I recognized, or realized rather, who I was, or who I am rather, or even was at that time when I didn't recognize who I really was. But I know now who I am, and have known for a couple of years now that I've been awakened. And traveling along my journey, I realized that all of my tough, very tough and dark life experiences prepared me for battle, for the wars that I was going to have to fight, the wars that I was enlisted in, that I was going to have to battle. You know, I realized that beginning with my mother, she was my first drill sergeant, and the treatment that I received from that woman, which was abandonment, neglect, which I feel like is one and the same, verbal abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, just, being antagonized. I'm thinking, because I'm going down the list. It is a list. It is a list. Gaslighting. What is the other one that I was thinking of? There was something I was thinking of that I can't think of the word. Where someone basically is, falsely accusing you for things that you didn't do, didn't say, but mostly against your character and who you are. So being falsely accused when it comes to who you are as an individual. Again, because, that person doesn't give two shits to get to know who you are. They don't care to get to know who you are, rather. So they falsely accuse you of being someone that you're not. So in a nutshell, that is what I dealt with. That was my first drill sergeant. And then, my father was absent and was a coward, so he didn't step up to the plate to hear me out. And, he was always just, laser focused on reuniting with my mother, even as toxic as he was, because he had low standards. So he didn't honor and value himself. He didn't see his self-worth. So, he was always focused on wanting to rekindle the relationship with my mother. But also, I was not a focus. The focus was my mother when it came to my father. So I was not the focus. So he was basically non-existent. And with him, there was abandonment, neglect, of course. And just, pretending that I was not there, because I wasn't a part of the plan. So pretending that I was not there, he was great at that. But, my mother taught me well when it came to preparing to be enlisted in these wars that I was going to have to face, and the different things that I was going to have to battle in my life. And then there were, of course, other family members that, were added to the mix. In addition to that, attempted relationships, so-called friends, that weren't supportive and didn't have my back. Just people coming in my life but not staying. And, what their true purpose was to just essentially show me, hey, this is what, we need you to see. We need you to prepare for battle. treated me and, you know, their behavior toward me, whether it was neglect or pretending that I wasn't there, or you know, not speaking to me very, you know, just speaking to me and I don't know, just being antagonizing. But, you know, when I review all of these connections, you know, what they did and what they showed me was that they were a part of my training. Because I'm trying to figure out how I want to word this so that you guys can understand. And you know, it was quiet at first in my neighborhood right when I started recording, and now it's kind of picked up in activity, so I hope that we don't have any distractions or too much noise. But yes, that is really what I want to say. They were all a part of my training for the wars that I was going to have to battle, because of the contract that I signed to be a spiritual warfare warrior. And so when I view these, and when I look back on these experiences and these lessons that I learned with these people, I'm not angry. I'm not upset, because I understand why. I truly understand why. From a healed perspective, I'll say that again, from a healed perspective, I understand why they showed up the way they did or didn't show up the way that I thought they should have. It all had a purpose. They were a part of my training so that I could be the spiritual warfare warrior that I needed to be. And I'm grateful for those people. You know, I'm thankful for the lessons that I've learned and the roles that they played and what I learned from them and what they had to teach. I'm so grateful because it allowed me to develop very, very, very thick skin to be able to handle what I was up against. And, you know, there were some battles I've lost, yes. I mean, we win some, we lose some. That's just a part of, you know, the game, especially in the beginning. You're gonna lose quite a bit in the beginning because you're learning. You're learning, so you're gonna lose quite a bit. You know, in many aspects, and in some instances, in all aspects. But as you learn, and through your learning, as you grow, you develop the sense of knowing how to put on your armor for battle, so that when you are enlisted again in another battle, you're protected. You're protected, and you learn how to protect yourself through these different battles that you've been enlisted in. You know, so if someone is gaslighting you, okay, you know, where I've gotten to at this place in my journey is that I don't even respond. I think I've told you all this before. I've gotten to a point where I don't even respond. I don't like when it changes view, like when the video, like the camera changes view. I wish it would just start out like this, because I like when it's like further back and not all in my grill. 344, as I said that. But I don't even respond. You know, I've laid down my sword. Now, don't get me wrong. You know, if I'm called to battle, I will pick my sword up in a heartbeat. And, you know, chop heads off left and right if I need to. But I've learned how to use the power of alchemy and transmute energy. So I'm more mental now with the way I battle. You know, if I have to go ahead and partake in one. And I choose my battles very wisely. But like I said, that is me in a healed place. I'm coming from a healed place now, where, you know, I don't need to go off on people. No. I mean, I know how to defend myself verbally. I'll say what I need to say. verbally, and that's it. You know, I don't need to get loud. I don't need to disrespect you. You know, I don't need to come for you in whatever kind of way, in a vengeful, revengeful way. I don't need to get any get back. I don't need to do any of that with my mouth, because I'm a firm believer that because I'm healed enough to know that if I say some fucked up shit, you know, that could materialize in the reality, and I'm not going to feel good about the outcome, because I know that my words are very powerful, and I'm not trying to rack up any more karmic debt. That's one thing I definitely am not going to do, and I'm not going to allow anybody to put me in the position to do so. So I'm very calculated, and I've learned this throughout my battles with these different people, you know, familiar, so-called friends, attempted relationships. You know, they've all taught me what I needed to know to be the warrior that I am now. You know, and I don't need to go off into all of that with my mouth. Like I said, I say my piece in defense for myself if I feel I need to even take it there. Because I feel like also I don't need to prove myself to anyone. There's that. For what? Especially if you know the person already sees you in an incorrect way. There's no point in telling them something that they don't care anything about. They don't care. They're not going to hear me. They're not going to hear you. You know, because they already have you figured out. You know, so it's no point. It's whatever you would say to them would fall on deaf ears. And, you know, I don't speak to people that are deaf. And that's figuratively speaking. Not literally. Speaking in literal terms, what I'm trying to say. I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say. But, yeah. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my lessons. They've taught me to be so strong, and I have been through so much. I'm grateful for my strength that I have. I'm so grateful for it, because, you know, I feel like I can navigate through my life a lot easier because of the strength that I have. And the strength that I've obtained is on many levels, and I'm just so grateful for everything, all of it. As fucked up as it was, I'm so grateful for it, because I know I wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't gain the strength that I have. But I'm so grateful for that strength. I'm so grateful for my spirit team, you know, that had my back through everything. You know, and they will have my back until the very end. I know that. I'm so grateful for my team. That is just really what I wanted to come on here to say today, is that I know that this journey can be very difficult, to a point where, you know, you don't want to be here, you don't want to have to keep dealing, you know, it's the same stuff you seem to keep dealing with, you seem to keep seeing, same type of energies, you know, it's exhausting. It's exhausting, especially if you've been enlisted in some very difficult wars, such as myself, where you're just dealing with very exhausting situations, very exhausting energies, because of the lessons that you signed up for that you have to learn. It can be a bit much. It can be the most. But if you just see things for what they are, it's just a mere means to teach you what you need to know in order to be strong and navigate through your journey just a little bit easier. Then you won't take it to heart as much as you would if you didn't see the lessons for what they truly are and what they're trying to teach you. And it's hard to see shit for what it really is because it hurts. It hurts. It can be downright, some things that are said, some things that are done to you can be just downright debilitating emotionally, mentally, and even physically. But I've been through all of it, still standing. And the strong survive. And at the end of it all teaches us resilience. It all teaches us resilience, that we have the power to rise above all of it. We're that powerful and we're that strong. So I won't drag this out. I'm going to end it here, guys. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day, great rest of your night, depending on where you are in the world. We need to get out in nature. I haven't really been out. I did take a walk. I think it was last Saturday. Not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before that. Or the Sunday before that. I did take a walk. So we need to get back outside. I've just been, focused on my healing work. I've been in the house, but kind of out a little bit, but not as much as I wanted to. We need to get out in nature. I need to do a little nature something or another for you guys. I'm hoping that tomorrow I'll be feeling good and the rest of the week, so that I'll have the energy to get out with you guys with me, so that we can, enjoy the last little bit of this beautiful weather that we're going to have, at least where I'm located, before it gets cold for the next 8 months. I'm so not looking forward to it. I wish I had the means to move before that crazy weather came in, but I have to continue to work hard and make that reality for myself and be patient. But you guys take care. If nobody told you, that you're amazing, that you're beautiful, that you're powerful, that you're capable, that you can get through anything. You literally can get through anything. You can. You have to believe it. You have to have faith in yourself and believe in yourself that you can. That you can. That you can. CAN. Alright, guys. You have a beautiful night, beautiful day. I'll see you guys next time. I'm hoping to see you guys Friday. Alright, love, peace, and grace. Bye.